What's up guys, Todd Kelly, Shuswap Outdoors. Today I'm going over my Lund SSV 16. This has been a project we've been working on for the last 6 years since we got the boat. I've had a lot of interest in it from my other videos on the process. Here's the final product, everything we're really happy with on how things work. The modifications we've done, there's nothing different that we would do, so I thought I'd finally go over the end of this project and everything we've done to it. First, we'll start off on the exterior with the bimini. I've had a ton of interest on the bimini here. This is 100% custom made. Any local canvas shop can make you something similar. I probably had 100 people contact me over the last few years from my other videos asking about it. Take a picture, screenshot, and go to your canvas shop, show them, and they'll be able to figure something out that'll work for you. We went with aluminum and stainless steel frame for durability. It's a little more money than the plastic joints and plastic front bar, but it's well worth the money. This frame is going to last a long time. It's super rigid and strong. The bottom is just attached by snaps all along. Easy removal. It's 4 parts, zippered in, big windows on it, so the visibility is great. Good protection for the wind, rain. If you have a child, it's added protection that they're not going to lean over the front of the boat when you're not looking and fall out. It protects during big waves, during windstorms. Instead of the waves coming over the sides, they splash off. It really rides and fishes like a bigger boat with this addition on it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It is a little expensive, but well worth the money to a boat like this. Just a great addition. I'm glad we figured it out. Next is a couple rod holders on the exterior. These are Scotty mounts. We got our Islander reels here. Really like these setups. These things work great in the big lakes of the interior of British Columbia. Great storage, gets stuff out of the way. The quick connect Scotty mounts is the way to go. And we had to make a little additions to the base here just so it didn't rub any holes into our side curtain. So both of them are the same. They click in. We've never had any problems in big waves of these rods bouncing or moving at all. They're super secure. And if we have 3 or 4 people in the boat, we'll fish 3 lines. We'll fish 2 off the downriggers, and we'll fish one of the rods up here on the surface, which is nice in a small boat to be able to troll with 3 lines. Next thing here, kind of on the interior, but our rod holder for our downrigger. It's nice having it next to the seat so the person sitting there is able to fish with it. Our Scotty downrigger from our other videos. We started out with the manual downriggers, the hand crank downriggers, and they're a garbage. They're a pain in the ass to use. We had them for 1 season. We sold them, replaced them with the electric ones. These things are great to have. In a small boat, it was a pain. If you were by yourself, you're reeling in a fish, then you got to wind the downrigger up manually. Here, sometimes we're fishing 100, 150, 190 feet. That's a lot of cranking on the downrigger to do by hand. The next problem is if someone's fishing and the second person wants to come over and crank it up. Too many people in the back. Save your money. Go with the electric ones right off the bat. I would even consider going with the extending ones, the extending boom, just to spread out your lines. We've never had any problems with the lines getting into the props the way it's set up. But if you're going to spend the money, spend a couple extra dollars, get the extended booms, really spread out your lines. Love these downriggers. They're on the 6-inch pedestal base, which I'll show when we go on the inside, and the swivel mount, so we can swing it around, get it out of the way wherever we want it. We also switched the stainless steel cable out to the braid. I have a video showing that process. The stainless steel is a pain in the ass. It kinks, and it has a tendency to break in the kinks, and it also makes a lot of noise, which is a little annoying. So switch over to the braided line. You'll be really happy that you did. Next, looking at the motors, we have the 5-horse Honda here. This is for trolling. Gets us down to 0.5 miles per hour, up to about 5 miles per hour, depending on how many people we have and gear we have, or if there's headwind or whatever. It's also nice having a second motor on the boat. The lakes we fish are big and we travel far distances. So if we ever had a problem with our main motor here, it's nice having a backup as well, that we could get to shore, get over back to the boat launch or whatever. The 5-horse is a perfect size in the Honda motor. From our other videos, you saw the boat came with a 30-horse Mercury. We used that for one season. It was underpowered for the size of boat. It just did not get up to step very well. We tried changing props, which didn't work. It helped a little bit. So we went with the 50-horse Honda. It is the same motor as the 40-horse Honda, same weight. It's just tuned a little bit different to get an extra 10 horsepower out of it. Love this size motor for this boat. It gets up on step quick, travels around 35 miles an hour, whether it's one person or 5 people in gear. Really nice motor. I would suggest going with as much power as you can. You're going to enjoy the boat a lot more. With the 50 horse, we went with a stainless steel prop on it. It's 14 pitch, which is 2 pitches bigger than the original aluminum prop that came with it. Gets us that extra speed. The power to weight ratio in this boat allows us to use a 14 pitch and hit our max RPM, which is really nice. A little more durable than the aluminum ones. I do have a separate video on this motor when we added it on my channel. I'll put a link into that so you guys can watch that video. A little more detail on the 50 horse on it. On the back of the boat here, we added a ladder a couple years ago. We found we were doing a lot of swimming during August, July, and it was kind of a pain to get in and out of the boat. So we added this telescoping ladder. Mounts up out of the way when you don't want to use it. It's also handy to get in and out of the boat when the boat's on the trailer, instead of using the side step and having to reach your leg around to get into it. Real nice addition. Got it off Amazon. It was like $100 or less. I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't that expensive. Stainless steel, just a couple bolts to bolt it on. We added a tether to it. This is just a Scotty tether in case anyone dropped it, that we're not losing it to the bottom of the boat. Transom plate for the sonar. I would really recommend getting one of these things. They're a hard plastic. Screw on with 2 bolts, so you're only putting 2 holes into your transom, and you can adjust your sonar to the proper area. You can adjust it a bunch of times. If you change models, you're not putting more holes in your transom. These things are like 20 bucks off Amazon. I'd get another one as well. Hey, over on the other side of the boat here, another Scotty rod holder that we're using for a net. Nice to get it out of the way, out of the boat. Another quick release. Had to do modifications to this one as well, just so it didn't rub and put holes into the side curtain. And it's really nice to get the net out of the boat, out of the way. It's not taking up any room. Super safe. Have never had any issues with it being on the exterior of the boat. So as we make our way to the inside of the boat, just wanted to show you how I have the electrical line and the 2 fuel lines going to the motors. Instead of having them wrapped around the splash well here like a lot of people do. Drilled a couple holes, rubber grommets, and they're tucked down underneath and go into the channels that are built in for the fuel lines. So we're inside of the boat now. We got our fuel line, electrical line in. We got lots of room for running the kicker here. One thing I do have is the downriggers are offset. You want them as far back in the boat as possible, but this one we put the weight behind the downrigger just so we had room for the tiller handle here on the trolling motor. The other side, it's pushed back and the weight holder is in the front. A little more detailed look at the port side downrigger. As I said, the weight is in the back and the downrigger's in the front. That was just room for the tiller handle. 6-inch pedestal base, the swivel mount, so we can move the downriggers around where we want. We switched over to a 15-pound downrigger weight. We started with 5s and found out we had too much blowback, especially when we were fishing the deeper depths of 100, 150 feet. 15-pound is a really nice weight to go with. Even fishing for kokanee, it works well. Scotty drink holder, just to organize some weights, flashlights, scissors, sunglasses, and for whoever's running the boat can have their drink holder there. We added some grip tape. This is how we get in and out of the boat while we're on shore. We turn the boat sideways and you can step onto it, so a little grip tape so no one slides getting in and out with wet feet. Over on the starboard side, as you can see, the downrigger is pushed all the way back and the weight is in the front of it. We have never had any issues with the lines crossing down into the props or anything. They work really well. We have the seat here and our sonar and another rod holder. We originally started with the Humminbird Helix 5 and it didn't have the GPS, and it was a little bit annoying not having a GPS, and the screen was a little small. The Helix 7 with the GPS is a nice size for the size of boat. You can see everything really well. You can see the depth chart and the GPS map equally well on the split screen. I would go this size. We have the cables running down underneath, under the floor into the battery box. Under the driver's seat is a 20-liter fuel tank, a little more grip tape on the floor, and the lines run under the seat back to the transom. There's actually tubes built in for this purpose from the manufacturer. So we have the electrical and fuel line on one side and a fuel line running on the other side for the kicker. Under the other side, instead of having the battery box there, I have that as storage. Just a little strap to keep stuff in. So we got a couple tackle boxes with some gear. I have maintenance equipment, screwdrivers, wrenches, that sort of stuff in case we have any issues. Got some life jackets under there. And that's where the fuel line is running through under the floor to the other fuel tank. And here is the plugins for the electric downriggers. Cable comes up and into the downrigger. Same on the other side here. Here on the other side is the other downrigger plug-in. Got a pocket with earplugs in it, and a multi-tool Leatherman, which is always handy to have. When you do mount the downrigger at the very back, you need to adjust or cut off the heads of the thumb screw just so you can fit it in and get it really tight into the as far back as possible. You do need a wrench to do them up and take them off. We leave them on all the time, so it's not an issue for us. And the cable running up into the downrigger. We also have another Scotty rod holder base here, and that is for The stern light, we just use a battery operated one instead of a wired in one. It was just easier to replace batteries than run a bunch of more wiring around the boat and have issues with that. So battery operated for the stern and bow light. So I got a bunch of cup holders all over the place. It's nice having a place to put a cup or storage for keys or cell phones, whatever else you need. I like having them low down out of the way next to the ground. You're less likely to break them off if you're seated and they were mounted higher up. You're going to hit them with your legs, so that's why they're down tight to the ground. I have seen people with them up higher. I didn't really like them set up that way. So for seating, we're using the Tempest seats. They've been a great seat here. If you've noticed, one of them is a little different. We got a little better model for my dad for Christmas one year. It's a lot nicer, a lot more comfortable than the other ones. For my child, I tore apart a car seat, took all the buckles out, screwed it onto a piece of plywood, and added the kingpin to mount into the seats. It was really nice when he was small, 2, 3, 4, even 6 years old now, riding in this. Able to tilt it back for when he was sleeping. We added a cup holder here for his drink. And it was a lot more secure for him than a normal seat. He is going to grow out of it here pretty quick, but a nice option is adding an old car seat if you have a child into it. Just for comfort and reliability of them falling asleep and not falling out. In the middle section here, we have a net. This net stays in the boat all the time. It's nice to have one out of the way. The rubber clamps are called Quick Fist. They're off Amazon. They're fairly cheap. We have them all over the boat for holding a bunch of different things. There's also another Scotty base in case we wanted to plug in any more accessories. I do have their camera adapter, arm, whatever you want to call it, that I use sometimes, which is nice instead of a tripod that can fall over. So I can put that there if I want. A little look at the bimini. I had some issues with this middle mount coming loose on both sides. It would rattle loose. No matter what kind of screws or bolts that we used in it. So I used some epoxy sculpt to secure it. And we haven't had any issues. That's been 3 years now. That's been in place. No issues of it wiggling loose. You can see the stainless joints that we used. Well worth the money. Makes the bimini a lot stronger, more durable. It's going to last the life of the boat. Up in the bow of the boat, I added a milk crate for storage. It's screwed on to the front bench. Fits a couple life jackets on either side of it in the front. We use it for storage in the summertime. I do use 50 pounds of ballast when I'm running solo. Keeps the bow down. It bucks the waves a lot better than having a light front end. So that's nice storage for that. During the fall, winter, and spring, I run a propane heater, a Big Buddy heater, off a 20-pound propane tank, and the 20-pound propane tank fits in there perfectly. Nice and secure. It's not rolling around, not going to move, and it's extra weight in the front of the boat here. So in the very front of the boat, I got some more Quick Fist clamps. We have a paddle that is required by law, and our stern light, as I mentioned, it's battery operated. Nice place to put it, keeps it out of the way. You're not going to lose it, and it's always with the boat. So we added some storage under these middle seat areas here. Seat pops out. I cut this piece of plywood, added a hinge. We got our seat base. Just a buckle here with webbing to keep it closed. Garbage bag, just to keep the fuel tank dry, that it's not sucking in any of this foam dust into the tank. I added a inline fuel filter, and we have 40 liters between the two tanks of fuel, so we can go a long ways. We don't have to fuel up very often, especially running the 50 horse. Nice having lots of fuel and not having to carry a jerry can. So on the other side, under this seat, same thing, cut the plywood, seat base. This is where the battery is. It's nice putting the weight forward in the boat instead of having everything in the back, especially with the 20 liters on this side. The battery on this side, all our wiring for the downriggers. Run underneath the floor. Nice, everything's clean. Nice to be able to get some extra storage in a small boat like this. So over on the port side in the middle, here's another Scotty base with the Scotty camera mount. It's on an arm. A lot of people are filming their stuff now. Nice to be able to have this set up instead of a tripod that's going to fall over. It works for your GoPro or whatever other camera you have here. If you've seen my other videos, you've noticed that there's a plastic base underneath the Scotty mounts, and these are just cheap cutting boards from the dollar store, and that allows just a spacer to get over this lip. If you had it tight, you wouldn't be able to use this top hole. It would be rubbing. So just nice way to get a spacer away from the boat. Well, there you go. There's the whole boat covered, all the modifications we have made. If you have any comments or questions, please put those on down below. I always check the comment section. Follow me on Instagram. I spend a lot of time over there, more there than anywhere else. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe if you're into more hunting, fishing, and gear review content. Anyways, thanks for watching.